After tying up his hands well, the boy came in front and took off Salar's socks, and with the pair of scissors from the first aid kit, started to cut out strips from Salar's shirt. He again, with great dexterity, tied up Salar's ankles with the strips. Then he opened the box of tissues and emptied it. "Open your mouth." Salar knew what he was going to do. He was mentally cursing the boy, who stuffed all the tissues one by one in his mouth. Then passing the last remaining strip from the shirt across Salar's mouth like a horse's bit, he tied him to the tree trunk. The other boy was now calmly closing the bag. A few minutes later, they had both vanished from the scene. The moment they left, Salar started to make efforts to untie himself, but he soon realized that he had landed in great trouble. The boy had tied him up with great expertise, and he could not wriggle himself free, nor could he loosen the twine. The more he tried, the more the twine cut into his flesh. He was in a very bad state. He could neither call out for help, nor could he in any other way draw attention to himself. Around him, there were tall bushes, and with the growing darkness, it would have been a miracle for someone to stumble on him. He was left only with his knee-length Bermuda shorts, and the night was getting chilly. At home, nobody knew that he had come here hiking, and even when he would be missed, how could anyone have found him, all tied up, in the dark in this thick forest? After half an hour's effort, when he was able to loosen and then undo the strips around his ankles, the sun had completely set. If the moon had not appeared, he would not have been able to see his hands and feet and his surroundings. By now, the noise of people and traffic had almost completely died down. Around him was the cacophony of insects. He could feel the abrasions from the neck to the waist as he was tied to the tree trunk. The twine had cut into his wrists at the back of the tree, and he was unable to move his hands anymore. He could not bear the stinging pain in his wrists. By now, the tissues which had been stuffed into his mouth had become pulp, and he had started to move the strip in his mouth, but he was unable to call out because he could neither swallow nor spit out the softened tissues. There were so many tissues that he was unable to chew them like gum. He was beginning to shiver. In this condition, he would have surely been dead by the morning, if he had not either died of fear or been bitten to death by some poisonous creature. His skin was crawling with small insects, which were repeatedly biting him. He was able to shake off the annoying insects from his exposed legs, but was unable to do this from the rest of his body. He wondered if besides these small insects, what other creatures he would have to contend with, and if there were scorpions and snakes. As time passed, his condition deteriorated. Why has this happened to me? What wrong have I done? And if I were to die, nobody would even find my corpse. It would be devoured by the insects and the wild animals, he pityingly thought. His condition took a turn for the worse. He was gripped by numbing fear. So, will I die like this? Here? In this state? Naked? unaccounted for? My people wouldn't even know about me. Is this to be my fate? His heart missed beats. Suddenly, he felt so afraid of death that he found it difficult to breathe. He felt as though death stood before him to see how his breath went out, bit by bit. Overcoming his pain, he tried once more to free his wrists. His arms hurt excruciatingly. After struggling for 15 minutes, he stopped. Then he realized that the strip across his mouth had loosened and that he could get it out by manipulating his neck, which he did. Next, he spat out the tissues. He inhaled deeply for several minutes and then kept yelling aloud as he could, for help. He was hysterical. After continuously shouting for an hour, his courage and voice packed up. He was out of breath, as though he had run several miles. But even so, no one answered his call for help. The wounds on his wrists were hurting unbearably, and now the insects stinging his face and neck also. He did not know what overtook him, but suddenly he burst out crying aloud uncontrollably like a child. For the first time in his life, he was crying with such intensity. Perhaps never before had he felt so helpless, and tied as he was to the tree trunk, he realized that he did not want to die. He was being engulfed by death the way he felt he had been in New Haven. He didn't remember for how long he cried out hysterically. Then his tears started to dry. Perhaps he was so tired that he could not even cry. Dog-tired, he leaned against the tree trunk and shut his eyes. His shoulders and arms hurt so bad that he felt they would be permanently paralyzed. I have never hurt anybody like this, but why has this happened to me? Tears started to flow again from his eyes. Salar, my life is already beset with problems. Don't try to increase them. My life is already difficult, and with the passage of each day, it is becoming even more difficult. At least try to understand my predicament and don't increase my difficulties. Leaning against the tree trunk, Salar opened his eyes. His throat was drying up. Deep down below, far, far away, he could see the lights of Islamabad. Am I trying to increase your difficulties? Me? My dear Imama, I am besought with your problems. I am trying to put an end to them. Consider, living with me, what a good and protected life you could have. Salar bit his lip. Salar, give me a divorce, she had exclaimed. Sweetheart, you go get it from the court, as you have already said you would. He was now quietly staring at the distant lights. He could discern his own image, and that of someone else's too, in a mirror. I had only joked with Imama, he mumbled. I didn't want to hurt her. His words appeared hollow to him. Heaven knows to whom he was trying to clarify. For a long time, he stared at the lights of Islamabad. Then his eyes grew dim. I accept I've done some wrong. His voice was a hoarse whisper. I intentionally tried creating problems for her, I tricked her, but I made a mistake, and I am remorseful. I know that by my not giving her a divorce and by lying about Jalal, she must have had to face a lot of difficulties. I'm really sorry for all that happened, but apart from this, I have not hurt anyone. And he began to weep again. My God, if I get out of this, I'll seek out Imama and divorce her, and I'll never trouble her again. I'll also tell her the truth about Jalal. Please, Lord, just release me. He was now sobbing uncontrollably. For the first time, he realized how Imama must have felt when he had refused